Right, welcome back. So let's take up a tutorial today on convex sets and functions. For convex functions, we will determine the convexity either using the positive definiteness property or rather positive semi-definiteness property or the basic definition. To recall the positive semi-definiteness property, if S is a convex set, F is a convex function on it, S is a open set, non-empty, then and if F is twice differentiable uh, on S, then F is convex if and only if the Hessian matrix is positive semi-definite all over. So if it is positive definite, trivially it also meets the requirement of positive semi-definiteness. Okay, so with that definition in mind, let us first look at a quadratic function like this here, which is f of x1 comma x2 is equal to x square plus 2x1 x2 minus 10x1 plus 5x2. And this is incidentally problem number 3.3a of nonlinear programming theory and algorithms, Mokhtar Bazara, Hanif Sherali, and CM Shetty. Okay, so let's first look at, we only need to look at the second partial derivatives. Since it's a two-dimensional problem, the matrix of second partial derivatives is also called Hessian. And so we are looking at uh, this symmetric matrix, a 2 by 2 symmetric matrix in this particular case is going to be my Hessian matrix. In general, it could be a function of x. I will have one example on that also. So if you take delta f with respect to x1, this is going to be 2x1 plus 2x2 minus of 10, correct? 2x1 comes from here, 2x2 comes from here, minus of 10 comes from here. Partial derivative with x1 does not exist. So this leads to the fact that del square f by del x1 square, which is taking the partial derivative of this with respect to x1, is going to be equal to 2. And if you take del square f partial derivative with respect to x2, which this is going to be same as x1 x2, then this partial derivative now taken with respect to x2, no term coming out of here, no term coming out of here, only a term coming out of this place, so therefore 2. Okay, so now what did we get? We got two twos and twos. And now if you look at del f with respect to del x2, because I need to calculate this one also, so therefore del f with respect to del x2 is no partial derivative from the first term. From the second term 2x1 will come, so 2x1, nothing from the third term. From the last term 5 will come. Now again this gives two more partial derivatives. Del square f with respect to del del square f with respect to del x2 square. I'm sorry, did I make a mistake? uh, Del f with respect to no, there is no mistake, there is no second order, there is no x2 square here, so that's why del square f with respect to del x2 square will be 0. That is obvious because there is no quadratic term in x2 here. Only quadratic term in x1 is there, that gives me a 2, but no quadratic term in x2, so therefore I get a 0 here. And if I take partial derivative of this with respect to now x1, then I will get del square f by del x1 with respect to del x2, which is equal to 2, which you can see that this and this is matching. So my calculation is correct. So therefore, what is the Hessian in this case? Del square f with del square f with del square f with respect to del x1 square, which is 2, then del square f with respect to x1 x2, which is 2, Then del square f2 with respect to del x2 square, which is 0, and del square f with respect to del x1 x2, which is 2. So you are getting 2, I'm sorry. So you are getting 2, 2 and 2 and 0. So now if you look at the determinant of h, it is minus 4, 2 into 0 minus 4. And if you look at the first principal determinant here, the one which is sitting here, then that that determinant is 2. Of 2 is obviously 2. If you look at the second principal determinant here, principal minus determinant, then that is the determinant of submatrix 0, which is 0. So what does this say? This tells some determinants in the principal minors are and the complete matrix are positive, some are 0 and some are negative. So therefore this matrix is neither positive definite nor positive semi-definite nor negative definite nor negative semi-definite. It is actually a indefinite matrix. So if it is a indefinite matrix, then this function is neither convex nor concave. It's possible sometimes that the negative of the function may be convex. So in that case, we call the function as concave. In this case, it is neither convex nor concave. Is that right? Okay. Now let's take another function, another quadratic function. This is the part C, which is f of x1 x2 is equal to minus x5 x1 square minus 5 to 5 x2 square plus of 2 x1 x2 plus of 10 x1 minus of 10 x2. I have a doubt that this may be negative. Uh, this matrix may be negative semi-definite, and therefore this could be a concave function. In this first case, I was thinking possibility of a convex function because second derivative was here obviously positive. Here the second derivative is minus 2 and minus 10, so the two diagonals. Now this time I am going to write the Hessian by inspection. Okay, let's write the Hessian by inspection for a quadratic function. So you take the partial derivative of on the diagonal only the square terms matter, because twice when I take a derivative with respect to x1 only this term is going to survive. When I take twice derivative with x2 only this term is going to survive. These terms which don't have square of x1 or square of x2 are not going to survive when I take twice partial derivatives with respect to the same variable. So if I take twice partial derivative with respect to x1 here in the first term, what will I get? Minus 2. What will I get if I take twice partial derivative with respect to x2? I will get minus of 10. And now look at this term. When I take once, when I take once partial derivative with x1, I will get 2x2, and then next time I will take partial derivative with respect to x2. So then from 2x2, the x2 will also vanish. So therefore, I will only get 2. So that means this coefficient associated with x1, x2 is the partial derivative with respect to x1, x2. And twice of these coefficients minus 1 and minus 5 are the coefficients associated at the diagonal, and at the off diagonal it is just the coefficient associated with x1 x2. So therefore 2 and 2. So if there was three-dimensional quadratic function where you say x1 x3 was there, then with respect to del square f with respect to x1, x3, whatever was the coefficient which was associated with x1, x3 would have come. Okay. Now let's look at what all determinants should we, for positive definite, what all determinants we should be checking, or what all submatrices determinants we should be checking. We only create matrices around the diagonal, right? So therefore, one by one there are two matrices, -1, -10, and then 2 by 2 there is only one matrix, -2, 2, and -10. So if I calculate the determinant of this, -2, if I calculate determinant of this, it's going to be -10, and if I calculate determinant of the third one, then it is 40, uh, -2, yeah, -10. So my 20, sorry, 20 minus 4, 20 minus 4 is going to be 16. So again, it is clear that this matrix is also neither uh, nothing of the above, which I find a bit surprising. So I think yeah, it's surprising. So let's also do it the other way around, which is that let us also calculate the eigenvalues of the eigenvalues of the characteristic polynomial. So I will write Si minus h determinant is what I have to calculate. So this will become s plus 2, this will become s plus 10, this will become minus 2, and this will become also minus of 2. So now this is going to be s plus 2 into s plus 10 minus of 4, which is going to be equal to s square plus 2s plus 10s, that is 12 of s plus of 20 plus of 20 minus of 4, or s square plus 12s plus of 16 plus of 16. So therefore, if this should be set to 0, this is the characteristic polynomial of h, which we should set it to 0. Now if we evaluate the roots, it is minus of 12 plus minus under root of b square, so 144 minus 4ac, so 16 fours are 64, yeah, 16 fours are 64, divided by 2 times of a, which is nothing but 2, so minus 12 plus minus under root of, so this is going to be 4 minus 4 0, and 8 plus 6 14, divided by 2, which can be written as minus 6 plus minus under root of, the 2 will go inside the square root of 80 as 4, so therefore you will get it as 20, and with 20 you will get uh, with 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 20 you are going to get square root of 20. Let's calculate the square root of 20. So 4 4s are 16, 5 5s are 25. So it's somewhere in between 4 and 5. It's somewhere in between 4 and 5. So minus 6 minus under root of 20 is also, this eigenvalue is also less than 0, and minus 6 plus under root of 20 is also going to be less than 0. So both eigenvalues are negative. So the matrix uh, is negative definite, is it not? Is negative definite. So now let me see what mistake did I do. Any mistake here when I did the determinant way. So I wrote the Hessian as minus 2 minus 10 plus of 10x1 plus of 2x1 x2, so plus of 2 plus of 2, and so look at minus 2 and then determinant of this particular thing. So 2 to the 16 minus of 4. So what is the mistake that I am doing here? What I should be doing is, if instead of that, suppose I was yeah, so so 20 minus of 4 is 16. So if a matrix is negative definite, then the determinant should have been less than 0. So yeah, I mean this seems to say, but this is seems to be telling a different story altogether. No, why? I think uh, yeah, I think I am interpreting the determinant condition with some um mistake. Yes, let's see what mistake I am doing. So for example, if I look at a 2 by 2 matrix like this is a negative definite matrix, but its is determinant is greater than 0. So 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 I think, since I had given you a characterization of positive definite matrices, so though if I want to check the negative definiteness of this matrix, because it's clearly not a positive definite matrix. So what I should be doing it is looking at, if I looking at minus of h, I'm sorry, looking at minus of h, which is nothing but 210 minus 2. So now I need to check the following determinants of the following three matrices. So the determinant of this is 2, determinant of this is 10, and determinant of this is 20 minus 4, 16, all greater than 0. Hence, minus of h is positive definite, or uh, or h is negative definite. So therefore minus of f of x is convex, hence f of x is concave. Yeah, this was interesting. Somehow I had missed this. Somehow I had missed this point, that to check to apply negative definiteness also, I should look at minus of h and then only calculate it. Okay, so in this first example, I don't see any problem happening, because one determinant was negative, and um, one determinant was positive. So that but now that we have, so I think, but I would recommend that one should uh, calculate the eigenvalues also, so as I'm usually more comfortable with eigenvalue way. So let me also calculate the eigenvalues of this matrix as a just to uh, just to verify everything. So now let's take this. Now si minus h is going to be s minus 2, s minus 0, minus 2 and minus 2, and the determinant of this is s into s minus 2 minus of 4, which is s square minus 2s minus of 4, and this is the characteristic polynomial of h, which we should set to 0 to calculate the eigenvalues. So therefore the eigenvalues are going to be minus b, which is 2, plus minus b square, which is 4, minus 4ac. So 4 for the 16 minus of 4ac will make it plus of 16 by 2, which is 1, plus minus under root of 5. So 20, the 2 goes inside as 4. So 20 by 4 becomes 5. So under root of 5. Now under root of 5 is greater than 2. So therefore what it means? It means 1 plus under root of 5 is greater than 0, and 1 minus of under root of 5 is less than 0. So one positive eigenvalue, one negative eigenvalue, which implies that the matrix is indefinite. If the matrix is indefinite, and for a quadratic function all over Rn it is the same, so Hessian remains the same. So therefore we come to the conclusion that in this particular case it is neither a convex function nor a concave function. So now let me take one more example in the similar stick, but now let us take a three-dimensional example. So x1, x2, x3, which is equal to x1, x2, which is equal to x1, x2 plus 2x1 square plus x2 square plus 2x3 square minus 6x1 x3. Okay. Now this is the function which is given to us. We have to calculate first of all the Hessian. For a quadratic function like this, I am going to calculate it directly now by inspection. That is more straightforward. You can imagine a x1 here, a x2 here, a x3 here, a x1 here, a x2 here, and a x3 here. So this tells you that Hij should be calculated once with respect to xi and once with respect to xj. So the diagonal terms are going to be del square by del f xi square. So the first term is going to be del square f with respect to del x1 square. So square term in x1 is only 1. So 2 2s are, so twice of that, 2 2s are 4. The 4 is going to come here. Let's fill the diagonals. Second derivative square term in x2 is only x2 square. So this is going to give a 2 here. First derivative will come as 2x1. Then the next time you take it, it will be 2. And this will give you again a 4. Okay. Now, see, this is a quadratic function, so all others are interaction between x1, x2, x1, x3. It could also have been an interaction between x2, x3, but the x2, x3 interaction is missing here. Since the x2, x3 interaction is missing here, I can immediately say that the 2, 3 entry, which indicates del square f with respect to x2, x3, and similarly the 3 comma 2 entry will be 0. This matrix is anyway symmetric. Now with respect to x1, x2, no x1 x2 product comes here, nothing, no x1 x2 product comes in any one of these two terms, it only comes here, and so therefore you are going to get a 1 here, and the matrix being symmetric you are going to get a 1 here. And now with respect to x1 x3, with respect to x1 x3 you get a minus 6, so therefore you get a minus 6 here and you get a minus 6 here. Now we have to calculate the we have to check uh, we have to check whether this matrix is positive definite or not. So let's start checking using the using the determinants way. So if you look at how many determinants, how many matrices you have to consider. So all the submatrices along the diagonal which are one by one. So these three. So 4, 2, and 4 incidentally all greater than 0. So the diagonal should be greater than 0 if the matrix has to be positive definite. That criteria seems to be satisfied. Now let's look at the 2 by 2 matrices that we will get along the diagonal. So this is 1 and this is 2, and then this and this. Is it not? So therefore I am going to get 4 1 1 2 2 0 0 4 and then 4 minus 6 4, and finally all of them put together, which is the original matrix 1 2 0 minus 6 0 and 4. Now if all these determinants are greater than 0, then the matrix will be positive definite. So let's see. Alternate way is to calculate the eigenvalues. Okay. So if I look at one by one, all the one by one determinants are basically 4, 2 and 4 itself, so greater than 0. Now if I look at determinant of this matrix, 8 minus 2, 6, so greater than 0. This is 8, so again greater than 0. 4 4s are 16. 16 minus 36, which is less than 0. So this is where we come to the conclusion that this is not a positive definite matrix. It cannot be negative definite also, because can I say that to check negative definiteness I should check at minus of h. So let me write the minus of h. No, let's not jump to the conclusion. Let's since it's not, h is not positive definite, we should say see if minus h is positive definite, which indicates that it would be a concave function. So let's write minus of h, but the minus of h is going to be equal to minus 4 minus 1 6 minus 1 minus 2 0 6 0 minus 4. So now all the one by one matrices are of course having numbers which are less than determinants which are less than 0. So therefore minus h is also not positive, definite. So therefore what happens, neither is h positive definite nor is minus h positive definite. So this function is neither convex or concave. So we should finally probably calculate the eigenvalues of this, which I just leave it to you to work out and cross check that whatever I have done here is correct. You know that it is eigenvalues you can calculate for this 3 by 3 in MATLAB or some other or in some other place. Now let's look at this one, f of x1 x2 x3, which is minus of x1 square minus of 3x2 square minus of 2x3 square plus of 4x1 x2 plus of 2x1 x3 plus of 4x2 x3. So the function is minus of x1 square minus of 3x2 square minus of 2x3 square minus of 2x3 square plus of 4x1 x2 plus of 2x1 x3 plus of 4x2 x3. So now let's write the Hessian again by inspection. So the diagonal terms are minus 2, minus 6 and minus of 4. Okay, and off diagonal terms are going to be x1 x2 being with respect to x1 x2 is 4, with respect to x1 x3 will be 2. So therefore 4 and 2 because the matrix is symmetric, and with respect to x2 x3 it is going to be again 4. So therefore it is going to be a 2 comma 3 entry is also going to be a 4. Now since since each of these diagonals are negative, there is no point in checking for positive definiteness. For positive definiteness, we know that all the diagonals should be positive. So we should check for negative definiteness only. So in this case, we should see if minus of h is positive definite or not. So we should look at 2, 6, 4, minus 4, minus 2, minus 4, minus 4, minus 2 and minus 4. We should look at this determinants for this. So the principal submatrices are going to be 2, 6, 4 for 1 by 1, then 2, 6, minus 4 and minus 4 and some more of it. But again I see here that 2, 6 are 12, determinant is 12, minus 16, which is less than 0. So even though these are greater than 0, the moment this becomes less than 0, so not a positive definite matrix. So therefore neither is H positive definite nor is minus H positive semi-definite. None of the two are positive semi-definite. So therefore this function is also not a convex function. Now let us take one last example of f x1 comma x2 is equal to x1 e to the, so this is not a quadratic function, okay, this minus of x1 plus x2. So we have to now calculate the 4 2 by Hessian is going to be a 2 by 2 thing. So first calculate del f with respect to del x1. So e to the power minus x1 plus x2 by chain rule plus minus of x1 into e to the power of minus of x1 plus x2. So this is going to be the first derivative of f1 with respect to x1, and f with respect to derivative with respect to x2 is just minus of x1 e to the power minus of x1 plus x2. So therefore del square f with respect to del x1 square is going to be equal to so I can write this equation as 1 minus x1 into e to the power minus of x1 plus x2, and this one I should once again take a derivative with respect to x1. So therefore it will turn out to be minus of, when I take the derivative of this with respect to x1, it is minus of 1. So minus of 1 into e to the power minus of x1 plus x2 plus of 1 minus x1 into derivative of this with respect to x1, which will bring that minus thing out here. So which will bring that minus thing out here into e to the power minus of x1 plus x2, which is nothing but taking minus minus into e to the power x1 plus x2 out. So you will get 2 minus x1 into minus of e to the power minus of x1 plus x2. Is it not? So this is what you are going to get as this thing. And what about uh, so what about del square f with respect to x2 square, that is take this. So this will just, because of this one more derivative here, the sign will reverse. So you will get x1 into e to the power of minus of x1 plus uh, minus of x1 plus x2. And now finally we have to calculate one off diagonal term, which is basically you take any of the two whichever expression, either this you take and take derivative with x2, or you take this derivative of x2 and then take its derivative with respect to x1. Any one of the two will do. So I am going to take the first one because I prefer this form of it. So therefore, when I take the partial derivative with respect to x2 there, this is going to be minus of 1 minus of x1 into e to the power minus of x1 plus x2. Is it not? So this is going to be the partial derivative of this term with respect to x2. So now put it together in the matrix form. So therefore H is going to be, it's very clear that I can easily take this term common out. So the partial derivative of this is going to be my x1 minus 2, this term here, x1 minus of 2. This is going to be just x1, and then with respect to this it is going to be 1 minus x1 or x1 minus 1, whatever way you want to write it, x1 minus 1. So this is going to be my H matrix. Now is this matrix is this Hessian always can you always say that this term is always greater than or equal to 0, is it not? This term is always greater than or equal to 0. So since this term is always greater than or equal to 0, uh, we basically need to see the positive definiteness of, when you are looking at positive definiteness of H, you need to focus on this matrix only. Now since there is no restriction on x1, x2, it is clear that if I take x1 less than 0, then the 2 comma 2 entry will be less than 0. And if I take so if I take x1 less than 0, uh, similarly 1 comma 1 entry, um, similarly 1 comma 1 entry is also going to be uh, less than 0. So then this matrix is definitely not positive definite. So then we should look at minus of h to see if minus of h is positive definite, which can tell us something about it being uh, a negative matrix or definite matrix or not. But when I look at this particular matrix, and then if I keep x1 greater than 2, then again I see that the diagonals are going to be less than 0, which means minus of h is also not positive definite. So this function is also neither positive definite nor negative definite. So I think enough for in one go. Usually I am always a bit worried about my numerical calculation, so I will leave it to you to check if I have done it correctly or not. Thank you.